Welcome to the Onyx Path News, another exciting episode in this wonderful springtime that we are living in right now. Well, I say wonderful springtime in the United Kingdom right now. It is pouring down with rain, and I understand in certain parts of America it is heavy with snow, not to mention the other terrible weather around the rest of the world and other such inclement things. But it is a wonderful spring. It's a wonderful day. It's a wonderful day for the Onyx Path News, and I'll tell you why. And that's because there is a new Kickstarter that has launched as of yesterday. It hasn't even been 24 hours yet, and we have passed the 75% funding target of They Came from the Cyclops' Cave and They Came from Classified. Now, you will know what these games are already, I suspect, but if you do not, take a moment, listen to what I have to say. They may appeal to you. They Came from the Cyclops' Thank you, Ian. They Came from the Cyclops' Cave is a cinematic fantasy game. It spans everything from swords and sandals fantasy movies to sword and sorcery movies and TV shows, everything from Sinbad and the Odyssey through to Hercules and Xena, with a lovely creamy middle of the Sword and the Sorcerer, Kroll, Hawk the Slayer, Conan the Barbarian, and more. They Came from the Cyclops' Cave is a beautiful book. It's a fantasy game, and there is so much scope for exploration with this particular game. I've recently got done running a game of it for the Red Moon role playing crew, so you'll be able to check that out on their channel coming up in the weeks ahead. But before that, they have an actual play of They Came from Classified, which is our second part of our double feature Kickstarter. That's right, this Kickstarter is funding not one, but two core rule books. So you can back it for one book, you can back it for two books, but importantly, this entire campaign is funded two books, which makes it very important to us. And that second book, They Came from Classified, is cinematic espionage. What does that mean? Well, everything from James Bond to The Man from U.N.C.L.E., The Avengers, Get Smart, Austin Powers, and even the works of John le Carré, the Bourne movies, anything with spies, private eyes, some explosions, thrilling chases, and vodka martinis and other such drinks. Now, I happen to think They Came from Classified was the most fun one for me to work on. I happen to know that my co-developer on Cyclops' Cave, Michele Masala, who is in the chat here, probably thinks the same for They Came from the Cyclops' Cave. We're both very, very fond of these games. I think the writing teams behind each did wonderful work and hit the tone precisely right. And that was important to us as creators because there's a real challenge with They Came From games to really nail that tone. One might argue, and I certainly have, that They Came From Beneath the Sea has the simplest tone. It has the most accessible tone because it's high camp, it's farce, it's nonsense, it's 1950s B movies. It's so Ed Wood. It's ridiculous. And you can kind of ratchet that up when you're writing. You go into Beyond the Grave, and at that point, tone starts getting a bit more difficult to really hit. The developer has to do a little work to make things consistent throughout the book, to make things all gothic and creepy, but also scary and hammy, as well as amusing at times, you would hope. Camp Murder Lake, there's a little bit of, I guess, more vulgar humor in that one because it's 1980s slasher movies. And then we get Classified and Cyclops' Cave. And again, hitting the tone of those two. We want games that can be played seriously or humorously. And being able to straddle that line, often in the case of Cyclops' Cave, meant interspersing the text with random proclamations to made up gods and swearing by the deeds of this person, champion of this place, that I will accomplish this. So there was a lot of that very Conan-esque dialogue throughout the book that really, I think, helps deliver the message of it. Whereas Classified, I think it's one of the easier ones to write for, like Beneath the Sea, in that you always have the feeling that you're sat in a comfortable chair across the desk from either the supervillain who has strapped you to the chair and is now explaining the game to you, or the M figure, the character who is about to send you off on a mission, who says, now listen here, agent, you're going to enjoy that tea, and I'm going to break down exactly what character creation is all about. That sort of thing. Anyway, I'm meandering all over the place because I'm very excited giddy, fizzing, ebullient regarding the They Came From games that are currently on Kickstarter, because these are new games, and it's wonderful to see so much funding within the first 24 hours, and we haven't hit that 24-hour mark yet. I've already had somebody say to me, well, it's not done World of Darkness numbers. We don't expect it to do World of Darkness numbers in the first 24 hours. This is, as I say, both of them are new games. So whenever we put games like these out there, it's always very interesting to see how much engagement they receive. We want people to see them. We want people to be enthusiastic for them. But in most cases, we just don't know how well they will do. And so for them to do this well within the first 24 hours is marvelous to see. It is encouraging. It tells us that we're doing a good job. And the art for both of these books, much of it is already on display on the Kickstarter page, but there's a lot more to come, is just sublime. Larry Blameyer has been making the full page art pieces for They Came From the Cyclops' Cave. I think you can see one or two of them on the page. And Derwin Talon, whose work you may recognize from the full pages and They Came From Beyond the Grave, is back for the full pages and They Came From Classified. And they're two very distinct art styles meant to emulate the posters, the action, the dynamism of these kinds of movies, and I think they just do it so well. Not to mention, gosh, all of the artists, I shouldn't just name drop two, but Aaron's work on the splats, the playable archetypes in these games, is also fantastic. And of course, our wonderful writing teams. Too many names to mention, which I know is unfair, but they all did a wonderful job. Now I will accept my award. Thank you very much. And the band can play me off. But all that said, I'm going to sing the praises of these games because I'm either the developer or the co-developer of them. And having come up with the original They Came From concept, there's a lot of pride in me regarding these particular role-playing games. I want them to do well. I want people to check them out. And I want people to think, what, I've not checked They Came From out yet. I heard it's silly. Or my game really likes dark and serious stuff. I still recommend checking them out. I still recommend giving them a go. The system will be very familiar to you. The concepts will be very familiar to you from movies and TV shows I have no doubt you will have seen. And whether you're just emulating plots with tweaks that you have seen on the screen, or whether you're creating your whole new tales using these various games, I recommend you check them out, and would love it if you have, that you say so in the comments. And most importantly, if you back them, even if it's at a $5 figure just to check out the manuscripts, share the Kickstarter. Tell your friends, tell your gaming groups, tell your social media about them, because we need word to spread, and the best people to do it are people who are interested in the games, and that could be you. So with all that said, They Came From double feature Kickstarter, The Cyclops' Cave, Classified, both are on right now. There's another 27 days to go on this campaign, so I will be making a lot of noise about it for the next month yet. If you've not checked out the They Came From double feature trailer, which is also on this channel, as well as on the Gentleman Gamer YouTube channel, do so. It gives you a pretty good glimpse into the kind of nonsense you can get up to with these games. So yes, I see we've got some people chiming in the comments, the usual trolls like Eddie Webb, and Michaela, I see, has made an appearance, as well as Soren. Hello, Soren Hjorth. Yes, it's lovely to see you, and yeah, please do spare some cash if you have it. And Ian gives one of the best quotes from the second Austin Powers movie, I think. Yeah, Spy Who Shagged Me, from Basil Exposition. Austin, I suggest you don't worry about these things and just enjoy yourself. And then he looks to the camera and says, and you do the same. And that is a perfect fourth wall break, very They Came From in tone. But story path, as Soren is mentioning in the chat, the story path system has really been evolving ever since we introduced it, and I'm going to have to be informed here whether it came first or they came first for Scion, Trinity, or Dystopia Rising Evolution. I can't remember which game it was being fitted into first. I think that's the main question. Obviously, They Came From, I think, came after all of that. And with each additional game. And the same has applied for Scion and all of the additional Trinity projects we have pursued. We have been refining the system, finding what works, finding what isn't being used very often, and it's been informing the way we design our games. And I think They Came From has a very specific flavor of story path, but nonetheless, if you know story path from one of the story path system games, you can easily adapt that knowledge for They Came From. I don't think there's any problems there. I've never heard someone say, I played Scion and I just don't get how story path works in They Came From. And thank you, Eddie Webb, mentioning it was derived from the Trinity core manuscript, so it's technically the third story path game. There we go. Okay, so that isn't all. You may think that just because we launched a Kickstarter today, that's all, or yesterday, that's all we have to worry about. That's not true. That isn't true at all. Onyx Path is a very busy company. We have some incredibly busy freelancers, and we are always putting a new product out every single week. It is something I like to mention here and there because I think it's the most remarkable thing about us as a company and about the teams that we have working on our games. Everything from writers to artists to editors and layout, proofing, and of course the errata process that the fans get involved in too. We somehow release something new every single week. And I think that is unique in this industry. I believe it is. I can stand to be corrected, but it's something that's always stood out to me. And we released some new things this week. One of them was the print on demand as well as PDF version of Heroes in a World of Horror, which is a source book for They Came From Beyond the Grave. And this source book doesn't just provide you with ready-made characters, it provides you, most importantly, with 3 full playable archetypes. So They Came From Beyond the Grave. Technically, I think, even with the best will in the world, I mean, Cyclops' Cave has got 6 archetypes in the core. Classified has 5, Beyond the Grave has 5, Beneath the Sea has 5. But Beyond the Grave technically has 13 now, because it has 5 in the core, 5 in Camp Murder Lake, which is a source book for Beyond the Grave, and 3 in Heroes in a World of Horror. And if memory serves, that includes the Kid, the Skeptic, and the Escapee. So if you want to play someone who has got loose from an asylum and is still in their straitjacket in 19th century England, you do that because this book enables you to do so. And these aren't just guidelines to how to make these archetypes. These are archetypes with full tropes. You can play them straight from the book and quips that go with them too. So they are fully playable from Heroes in a World of Horror. And Heroes in a World of Horror, which is linked below, just as the Kickstarters I mentioned are, you can purchase for a very low price and get 3 whole playable archetypes in. So on top of that, if you are the kind of person that runs They Came From at conventions or are interested in giving a one shot a go, but you just don't have time to create characters of your own, or your players are brand new to it and so they don't know how to create characters, don't worry. This book does contain a ridiculous number of ready-made characters too, so that means you can just start playing them straight out of the book. There is at least 1 character for every single archetype, if I recall. So, what else do we have? Well, we also have, and this one may not excite you so much, but it is a part of delivering a full package, and that is the Storyteller screen for Hunter the Vigil 2nd edition. Because we released Hunter the Vigil 2nd edition in PDF and print on demand last week, and it's doing very, very well. Always very happy to see a Chronicles of Darkness game do well. We do love the Chronicles of Darkness, and Hunter the Vigil, as you probably are aware, is a game that is very special to me as a storyteller. But now we have released the screen, so you have your quick reference to all the things you need to access, all those rules that you always forget. You can get them straight there and have it available open across your monitors if you have more than one, or just one monitor if you want, or you can print it out, stick it on some cardboard. Obviously, if you back the Kickstarter of Hunter, you will probably be getting a hard copy of that Storyteller screen if you backed at that level. So, there's different ways to play with a Storyteller screen. I often have one open when I'm running my games over Discord. And I often take them with me when I'm running games in person. So I play both sides of the fence in that regard. So those are our releases for this week. Heroes in a World of Horror and a Storyteller screen, but also a massive Kickstarter campaign that is surging towards its Kickstarter funding goal. I'm estimating we will fund at some point during the weekend. It could be later, could be before, I don't know. I think we will hit that funding target, though. Last time I checked, I think we are somewhere like 3,000, 4,000 dollar pounds off of funding new yen, but I have no doubt we will get there. I have no doubt we will, and then it will be the interesting test of what are our stretch goals. We shall see. Beyond that, we also have a content creator form. I mention it every single week, but here I go again. The content creator form is linked in the video description below. If you want to make podcasts, if you want to make blogs, if you want to make videos, if you want to do anything media related regarding our games, go on that content creator form and tell us. It allows us to promote your content. We want to promote your content because by promoting your content, people will check it out, and that means they might check out our games. So it all helps. We are happy to help you if you want to help us. Use the content creator form as the best way to get in touch with us. Plus, on top of that, something I often request, but I haven't been doing it enough, is I know that people watching this, of which there are some watching it live, I know that people who watch this are people who have purchased our games. Well, if you've purchased our games, we want you to review them. And if you do not have time to review them, which is perfectly acceptable, please rate them. The likelihood is you would have bought one of our games off DriveThruRPG once upon a time. If you go on DriveThruRPG.com and you go on My Library, it will tell you how many books you have left to review. Well, sometimes, and in my case, I can tell you that's over 100. I have rated every single book I have purchased. I have not left a text review for every single book I purchased, but I have definitely rated them. So if you can do that, if you can go on the library, find any books of ours or other companies that you particularly enjoy and you want to give them a star rating, we would appreciate it because it helps people find our products. Last, I see Soren is swearing now in chat, but I'm going to allow that to pass. There we go. Right. Beyond that, there's always something else, isn't there? There's always something else. Well, the last thing I want to ask you in this particular video is to check out the GM's Day sale on DriveThruRPG.com. Because on DriveThruRPG, there's always some fantastic sale going. The GM's Day sale is one of those wonderful sales I particularly enjoy because we don't recognize our GMs enough. We don't say thank you to them enough, and we don't tell them what we like about their games enough. And I'm not just saying this as a perpetual GM. This isn't some passive-aggressive dig at my players. Or maybe it is. But the GM's Day sale is a fantastic way. You can buy yourself a game with money off easily. We've got lots of our books available on there. Rich Bastard's Guide to Magic, 100 Devils Night Parade, among others. You can get them with money off. You can buy them for yourself. Or if you love your GM, if you think your GM is doing sterling work, you just want to give them some support, pick them up a book on the cheap. Use the sale. It's GM's Day for a little while longer. It's a day that lasts longer than 24 hours, but sometimes our days do feel like that. And yeah, you can pick up a game as a gift. Why not? Gifts are perfect for gaming, as are books in general. So please consider it. So, last thing to say, and then I will sign off, is you know that this Kickstarter is going on now. There's no excuse to not spread the word. Spread the link. It's in the video description below. If all you do is post that link on your Twitter or on your Facebook, on your Instagram, on your, I don't know, I'm going to start showing my age now, your TikTok, your Snapchat, your Bebo, your Google Plus homepage, your MySpace, or just stick it in the little text that goes under your name on MSN Messenger. One of those places. post that link, let people find it, because we want people to check this Kickstarter out. We want people to be excited about it. And the best way for an excitement to travel is like a virus. Infect people with your excitement. Make them get excited, just as I'm excited right now, or there'll be hell to pay. Thank you very much for watching, and do support us in whichever ways you can. If you like our games, the best way to support us is by buying them, or by getting other people to buy them for you. And that enables us to make more games. So thank you very, very much for watching. I was about to sign off. And that may have made some people click off. But you know what I should do? I've got a couple of minutes to go, Is there anyone here who has a question in these last few minutes? Before I must go and get on with some other kind of work. Let's see. Vine, yes, I didn't tell people to post the link on Vine. There we go. No, it looks like everyone is going away. Well, yes, post the link on Grindr. You know, I'm quite happy to appeal to any crowd who wants to back our game. I certainly don't discriminate when it comes to They Came From or any other game. Well, all right. People are telling me to have a nice weekend, so that is what I intend to do. I will finish up my work for the day, and I will have a damn nice weekend. Thank you very much for watching, and I will catch you next week.